What about making your sound better?
All right, guys, so in this video, we're going to be talking about creative techniques for editing vocals. A lot of times people think of Melodyne simply as a vocal tuning processing tool, but something I love to use it for is to really use it as an instrument. I like to modulate my own voice, vocals that I have from other singers, and you can really use it for some very interesting effects, and there are a lot of ways to do that with the tools that I've gone over. So firstly, I'm going to discuss adjusting the pitch to create kind of one of those more popular high-pitched vocal synths or leads or melodies, whatever you want to call it. So what I'm going to do first is take this vocal that we've already messed around with a bit, and I'm just going to put it up an octave. So I'm going to use the pitch tool and just bump it up to there. So let's hear that. All right, so sounded a bit like a chipmunk. But now, obviously this is not what you would use for this song probably, or for, a rock record in general. But maybe for an EDM song or a hip hop track, you want some backing, creative vocal sounds. You can do that. What I'm going to do now is use the Formant tool to dial in how I want it to sound. Right now it's sounding a little bit too digital, crazy, and chipmunky for me, so I'm going to tune it down a little bit with the Formant. And you'll want to play around with this more, but so that sounds kind of cool. For this kind of an effect, I'd want to probably throw on some saturation and a lot of compression and, send effects and all sorts of stuff like that. So it's not going to sound that cool just directly in Melodyne, but that is one way to kind of macro adjust the formants. I can do it also by note. And then, if I really wanted to get creative, I can start splitting things up. Put them in different. And, you can create your own new melody with this, which can be very cool. And, it's very cool. You can adjust the slopes of the sounds. So as you can hear, this does more of a direct chop, and while these notes have more of a slope, and I can adjust that as I showed you before by, touching at the ends or the beginning. But I kind of like that for now. So that's pretty cool. And then I do want this last note to be a little bit louder. It kind of got lost in the end. So I'm going to use the amplitude tool there. And then this drifts a little bit on me. So I'm going to straighten it out a little bit. Okay, that's a little bit better. Okay, and it's got a bit of a click at the end, so I'm going to cut that off and just delete it. See how that sounds? Yep, better. So there's, all sorts of chopping you can do, and can get very detailed with it. You can do some very cool stuff, and if you want to just create, a synth from just a specific sound, let's say I just really like that piece, you can copy paste it, just, select it, Command C, whatever it is, and then choose sort of where on the grid you want it to go, put it there, whatever. And then you can keep doing that, do a few of those. I want it to be there, there. So there you go. You've created your own, sample-based synth pretty much. So, and you can adjust the length of it, adjust where it is. If you're in a DAW, you can, more specifically put it on the DAW where you want it to go. I'm going to center these on the pitch because now that it's a synth, I probably want it to be a little more exact. So let's see, center it, snap it to B minor, leave it there. So one thing that is also kind of cool is, let's say, I'm not really digging this B minor thing anymore, and I'm going to change the whole song. So if you, before changing the scale, if you go to Notes Reflect Scale Changes, you click up here in the scale options, Notes Reflect Scale Changes. If you do tuning and mode, now if I switch it to, let's say, I'm feeling more happy, so let's go to B major. See how it just jumped, and it actually puts them in the note that is closest to it, that's in the scale. So now it's not really centered. I don't know why, but oops. Let's center that guy. Yeah, we might have to recenter, I guess, but let's see. We'll center it. Not a big deal. But now we're in B major. Yeah, instead of B minor. And if we want to undo that, we can just go back to B minor, and there we go, back in there. Anyway, so I find this incredible. I mean, this is so crazy that technology can do this. So shout out to Celemony for making such an incredible tool. All right, so that's one thing you can do. Another, I'm going to just go to actually a different vocal stem, because now that we've messed with that one so much. So that now that this is back to an unedited vocal stem, for now, just because I don't want to spend the time doing it and do a whole nother video of the same stuff we did before, I'm just going to do some macro edits. It's probably not going to sound, it definitely won't sound perfect, but you'll get the idea. I'm just going to kind of center everything and take the drift off and snap it to B minor. Okay, not going to sound perfect, but for our purposes, it'll be okay. So now, another cool thing you can do with vocals is create harmonies that didn't exist. Sometimes I find this very helpful when, I'm working on a demo and a singer sends me, just a quick one-track vocal over the song. I can import that, and if I'm really hearing and I want to hear what it sounds like with a harmony, let's say on this note, I want to hear an A chord, I can copy paste it. So let's do that. Oops. All right, it's not letting me select it. There we go. Move it over here. So I'm going to do an A major chord. Because that's what's in this key. Do one more of those. Shoot. There. Let's lower the modulation a bit. Probably not the chord I would want to do, but maybe jump those down an octave and have them be more backing rather than leading. I mean, that's amazing, right? I mean, it's so easy, so incredibly awesome that you can do that.
We stand. We stand. We stand.
So, and then, let's say, all right, I don't want it to be so huge. Let's lower the background vocals a little bit. And so that's one way to do it. For a final track, I probably wouldn't leave them all on the same track like this. I'd probably have a separate lead vocal channel and then a channel for harmonies, or better yet, I'd hopefully have some recorded harmonies. But this can be a really cool way to do some creative stuff. And a lot of times, for a freelance project or something like that, I might get sent very small number of stems, but have an idea for a harmony. Or, if I'm doing a remix or something like that, and these harmonies don't exist, but I've adjusted the key or something in my song slightly, and I feel that the harmony that didn't exist in the original song would really do a lot for my version of the song. This can be an essential tool to blow them away. You send that back when you're making the remix, and they're hearing a new harmony that they never heard in the original song. So it can be pretty incredible. I find this a huge and useful tool. In this video, we discuss various creative vocal techniques using the formant and pitching tools to change the quality and timbre of a vocal. We use the copy paste method and various other tools within it to create a new rhythm and a new sort of a vocal lead or a vocal synth in various different ways. And then we also use stacking by copy pasting notes to make new harmonies for your vocals. So now you should have a very good understanding of how and why to use various tools to edit your vocals. And in the next video, we will be discussing working with instruments other than vocals, which isn't something that is always thought of when you first think of Melodyne, but it's extremely good for that as well. So we'll go over that in the next video.